In today's session of Divorce Court, Janelle Crouch says it was like a dream come true when she married David at 18.
You saw the dollar sign, Your
Never
Honor.
about money.
Well, excuse me, but if you gave him the dollar signs, then you're supposed to keep the dollar signs flashing.
Now she realizes marrying an older man is no fairy tale.
Had me choked up against the wall telling me he was gonna kill me.
You are not a little man. And particularly if you're thinking about going into wrestling, that means you probably have some skills.
Today, Janelle Crouch faces David Crouch for the last time in this session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
This is a matter of David Crouch versus Janelle Crouch. Mrs. Crouch, I'm told that you're asking the court for about $3,400 in medical bills for your child that you want him to pay. And this is a 3.5-year marriage, which is ending in divorce. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
Well, Your Honor, my daughter stopped breathing. She was a month old, and I rushed her to the emergency room. And when I got there, all I knew is I had this medical card for an insurance for my daughter. So that's what I gave the people. She stayed overnight. Everything was fine. We came home. She has asthma. And so we came home. About a month later, I got the bill for the entire stay at the hospital. So I said, well, I called David. David, you know, you need to check into this. The insurance didn't pay for any of
Your
this.
Honor, I disagree with that.
Well, hold on a second, and you're going to get a chance to disagree.
I told him, you know, you need to call and find out, you know, what's going on. Make sure, because they've sent me the bill. Well, he said, no problem, I'll take care of it. Well, a year later, Your Honor, I get this collection notice saying that it's not taken care of. $3,400 is on my credit because, you know, he didn't call the insurance. That's all he had to do was call and make sure that the baby was on the insurance.
Were you still together?
No, I was living with my mother then.
And the two of you had separated?
That's right.
Yeah, because she wanted to. She wanted to separate.
What do
Your
you mean
Honor.
she wanted to separate?
She wanted to go down there with her family.
Your
That's
Honor,
the whole point.
Hold on, Mrs. Crouch. Did you fill out a claim form
Yes, I did.
for that particular visit by your daughter at the
Yes,
hospital?
ma'am. With that bill that we got, I
And
filled
when
it
did you
out.
fill out the claim form?
That was a month after she got the bill.
And they still have not paid it?
Yes, they paid it because I left that employment in November '99.
All right, let me see what you have if they paid it. If they paid it, she still should be receiving a claim. Just tells me for $3,470, but it doesn't tell me for the services rendered and when.
Right.
They don't send
Because
out
I left my
itemized-
employment, Your Honor, I left my employment
They
November
don't send out
'99.
itemized bills, Your Honor.
So anything that was out or was supposed to be paid up before I left my employment, and I verified that before
Okay,
I
so
left
you
my
had
job.
insurance and you were working
Yes, ma'am.
and you stayed on that job even after you separated.
Right.
Is that right? What caused the separation?
She wanted to be with her family.
What do you
She
mean
was
wanted to be with her
young.
family?
She was
He told
young.
me to
She
go.
didn't want to take on the responsibilities of being married. You
That
know,
is
She was
not
young.
it, Your
How
Honor.
young is she?
she was at the time we got married. She was 18.
Oh, so you married a child
Right.
That's right.
or a young adult?
A young
And
adult.
how old were you?
I was 30 at the time.
Oh.
Yes.
So why did you marry an 18-year-old and she was too young and irresponsible and didn't want to take on
Well,
the responsibility of being a parent?
I didn't know she didn't want to take on the responsibilities of being
Your
a
Honor,
wife.
we talked
Hold
about
on a
it.
second.
That's what I'm saying. That's when she left. When the times got hard, when the bills were stacking up,
Like what?
like the rent. You know, we stayed in a nice apartment, and she just, you know, I was working hard. You know, you just couldn't have everything that we had before we got married. You know.
Like, what did you
I was
have before you got
married? I was taking her out all the time. We was eating well. We was going different places. Then once we got together, that's when we had to pay rent and all that.
Oh, so when you were courting her, you were whining and dining.
That's right.
And then once you married her, you said eat at home.
No, that's not true. I said, you know, we're family now. This is what we're up against.
No.
I don't understand that.
Your Honor,
So, wait a minute. You took your wife to, I take it, nice restaurants, or what you would call a nice restaurant when
Right.
you were dating her?
Right.
And you took her to other outings like concerts and plays, etc., things like that?
We was always doing something.
Always going somewhere.
Always.
Vegas and places like that,
Yeah,
exciting
we was
places?
just doing things, just always.
So you bought her.
No, I didn't buy her. I guess she saw what the potential what she was going to have.
He knew
So
the money
you
never
deceived
mattered.
her.
I did not
The money
deceive her.
never-
She knew exactly the situation
He had
I'm in.
more
She
money,
knew I
Your
had.
Honor.
She knew I had 3 other children before we
no,
got married.
I did not, Your
she
Honor.
Knew all
I
that.
did not know he had
She
3
knew
children.
what the
Wait a
child
minute.
I did
support I
not
was
know.
paying.
Hold on a second.
She knew the child support I was paying
I did
before
not-
that.
Oh, no.
You didn't know he had 3 other kids?
No, Your Honor. He told me he
knew.
had one child,
She
Your
knew.
Honor.
She
Before
knew.
we got married, he said, you know, Janelle, this lady is saying
No.
that she's
I have
pregnant
an
by
older
me,
daughter.
but
Listen,
they're
Crouch,
not
she's
my
talking
kids.
now.
He said they're not my kids.
Oh,
it's,
no.
it's a set of twins.
How
You
they
know what I
wasn't my-
found out about the
how they
twins?
wasn't my
When
kids?
they
Mr.
started
Crouch,
taking
wait
child
just a
support.
No, stop. I didn't hear that because he was talking over you. Say it again.
I found out about the other 2 children when they started taking child support for them out of his check.
After you got married?
That's right, after I was married. And I
So
said,
what
well,
did he
David,
tell you before you were married?
he said, you know, this lady is saying that she's pregnant by me, but they're not my kids, so you don't have to worry about it. And I dropped it. I believed
How
him.
she said it was
and I
pregnant by you and the
dropped it.
kids are 5 years old?
So in other words, when you met him,
That's right.
a woman was pregnant.
That's right.
And he claimed that she was alleging that they were his children.
And they were not his
but
children.
he wasn't the father.
No,
and
that's
we
not the
never
truth, Your
discussed
Honor.
it any further.
Your Honor, that's
Never.
not the truth.
So you were
That's
willing to
it.
marry him without knowing for sure?
Well, he
Yep.
said
Yep.
they weren't his children, and I believed him.
She saw the dollar
I believed
signs.
But you know that meant that
It
you...
wasn't about money,
She
Your
saw the
Honor.
dollar
It was
signs, Your
never
Honor.
about money.
What dollar signs? What, wait a minute. If you...
What dollar signs? Because, Your Honor,
There was
while
no
we was
dollar
doing things,
signs.
the wedding and everything, I paid for that. I took money out of my 401k plan. I did everything.
You didn't do everything.
So you saying she saw the dollar signs? Well, excuse me, but if you gave her the dollar signs, then you supposed to keep the dollar signs flashing.
Hello.
Once you married her.
Hello.
I understand that.
If that's what you did to get her, you're supposed to do the same thing to keep her. What's your problem?
But it's supposed to be a 50-50 thing when you married, though.
Not if you're being I agree. But if you start something, see, my father always said to me, I hate to cook. I had never liked to cook. So Daddy said, when you get married, daughter, don't start cooking those meals every day. 2 and 3 meals a day and making him think that's the way it's gonna be. If you can't finish it, don't start it.
I understand.
Now, the same advice goes to you. You shouldn't have started whining in the dining if you couldn't finish it, because that's a false pretense. She married you under false pretense, believing that you were going to keep doing this, and that's the kind of life she could live.
No,
You shouldn't do that.
She married me, Your Honor, so she can get out the house. That's why she married me. So she can leave her family and be on her own.
If that
But
Clean
once she,
from mother and father, and leave mother and father, and cling only to her husband. And she's 18 years old, and she's young, inexperienced, no money, no job. You're 30 years old, so obviously you were saying to her, I'm willing to take you in and do that for
that's
you.
right, and I
said that,
was. I
and
was
he
in the
did.
beginning. I was willing to take on. We had problems. We had arguments. She didn't want to
was willing
clean up
until
because
child
she's
support
been at
started
home.
coming out his
She
check
ain't never
and he didn't
cleaned
have
up. She
money.
never had no
Then he told me to
responsibilities
go
at
get a
home
job.
to
Wait,
clean up.
I'm sorry, both of you are talking at the same time. If she's 18 years old and she's leaving her parents' house, right?
Right,
They've taken care of her all the time.
right.
And I suffice it to say they took good care of you.
I didn't have to do anything, Your Honor.
So that showed too.
And so you married a woman that was used to being pampered.
And he knew it. And he knew it.
When divorce court continues, Janelle testifies about the real reason why her marriage to David broke up.
There has been physical abuse in our relationship
Physical
as
abuse?
well.
Oh, that's a different story.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Janelle Crouch as she testifies that David changed after they got married.
So what happened once you married him and you found out that that the per diem was what he was taking you out on, and he changed jobs, and the per diem was gone, and once you married him and you found out that he had 3 children, and they started taking the child support out of his check, which decreased the money, and it stopped some of the whining and dining. Well, is it fair to say that at that point you decided and forgot your vows that said for better or worse?
Thank you, Your
No.
Honor. That's
Hold
right.
on. I don't need an amen corner over there.
Right.
No,
That
Your
you
Honor.
forgot your vows and better or worse, and now here comes a worse part,
No.
and you're saying, well, you can no longer provide and give me the things that my mother and father did, and I'm not used to living tight like this.
No.
Were you ready to get out?
No, I was not.
Yes, you are.
What
I
are you willing to
remembered
do?
my vows, and I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the whining and dining. I loved him, and that's why I married
So
him.
what happened?
See ya.
He didn't support me. He didn't want me
What
to
do you
go
mean
to
he
school.
didn't support you?
I mean, just, you know, you can go
I
to
don't
school.
know. I'm trying to have you tell me.
He's saying, you know, you can go to school before we got married.
And you did.
You know, establish your life and everything. And then after we got married and he didn't have money, then I was wrong because I didn't want to quit school and get a job.
Did you finish
I was
school?
wrong because I
you
wanted
finish
to make.
school?
Stop, Mr. Crouch.
It wasn't
You
by
went
his
to
help that I finished school. I finished school because that's something I wanted for myself, regardless of what happened with the marriage.
But see, what happened, what it seems to me is that you married young, you were younger.
That's right.
You hadn't started your adult life. And you didn't realize that when you marry, that the money may get tight. And when the money gets tight, sometimes your plans go on hold. That's in any marriage. Sometimes we get married with all of this great ambition and we intend to do a lot. But the financial circumstances change. We never know when.
I understood that, Your Honor. It just didn't make sense to me to go out. I didn't have any job skills. I never worked before. It didn't make sense for me to
But
go
if he's not making enough money to continue whatever the lifestyle you were living in when he was making the money.
We could have made it, Your Honor. He picked the
didn't want it.
apartment
She didn't
way
want
above our means, Your
I
Honor.
picked an
But it was
apartment.
within your means at the time, right?
No, it wasn't,
Yes, it
Your Honor.
was. At
It
the
was
time,
not.
it was in our
Were
means.
you willing to change and go live somewhere else?
I told him we shouldn't have gotten this apartment. I didn't
After
even
we
pick
moved
it.
in.
Stop. But once you got it and the money was tight, did anybody, the two of you couldn't sit down and say, you know what, let's readjust. Let's do
Yes.
some readjustment. Let's
Yes.
move to a place that's less money. Let's not eat out as often as
Yeah.
we were doing
We
before.
didn't eat
Let's
out
not
at all.
travel as much.
Yana, we didn't do that until right before our daughter was born. That's when we moved
Because
to
we
a
were in
smaller
a lease,
apartment.
so he signed a lease, so we had
So
to
you
stay
couldn't
there
leave.
for it.
Right.
No, we were borrowing money from our parents to pay the rent, all kinds of stuff. I ended up getting a job along with going to school when I was pregnant. He was away working. I'm pregnant, going to school, coming home, changing my clothes, going to work my other job, coming home late, trying to do homework, trying to cook dinner, trying
Cook
to
dinner?
have
I
things
wasn't even
cleaned
there. How
up.
Sound like you
I
were
had
not
to
tweet.
eat, Your Honor.
But the point is that you can't blame him. Was he still working?
Was he working? Yes. Yes.
And did the job situation change? Was it something beyond his control?
For him being away?
No, the job that he had.
No, the per diem part, it was
It was
beyond
the
my
per diem
control.
part he didn't get anymore.
All right, but the
money-
job required him to travel?
Yes, yes, Your
So
Honor.
was that beyond his control? Isn't that what he was doing
No,
when you married?
I'm not upset with him about being away. I understood that. But I
So
didn't
what are you upset
understand
about?
when he came back home, he walked in the door. What kind of wife are you? Look at all this stuff around here. You can't do this. There's no dinner cooked. What kind of wife are you? All the
Your Honor.
time,
Your Honor, I
all
used
the
to be
time
gone.
coming down on me, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I used to be gone.
cried, it seemed like every day of our marriage. I felt like nothing
No,
the whole
Your Honor,
time coming
Your
down
Honor,
on me.
I used to come home every 2 weeks, on the weekend, every other weekend.
And walk in the
And I
door
walk
with
in on
demands.
Friday night, and the house is a mess, the bed is unmade, dishes in the sink. And before I do anything, I'm cleaning up the house so I can sit down, so I can do something. I mean, I don't ask for much. I've been gone.
I really am, Joe, we are really going to start us some classes on marriage, premarital classes. Now, the two of you should fully understand, and it sounds like to me this is a simple problem, real simple. You just haven't learned to work together to do what needs to be done. You're still you're young, and you've saddled with responsibility that you didn't expect. You now have a child. Now you have to work and go to school, and you thought you'd be able to go to school without going to work. You thought your husband would be there for you financially and allow you to do that. It didn't play out like that. Now you're disappointed, depressed, and upset. That's not a reason to end a marriage. That's time to pull together and work hard and work together. He's still working. He's still the same man. He's working hard, still, same job, traveling just like he was doing before. You didn't understand that a man who has a job that travels means you're gonna have a lot of lonely nights,
I
a lot of
understood.
sleepless nights, a lot of nights by yourself. You're not going to have the support of him with the child because his work requires him to travel. You have to count up the costs
He was
before
never there
you
with the
marry.
baby. He was never there, Your Honor. He told me to go stay with my mom. He would come down every weekend to see us. He decided he wanted to go to wrestling school instead of coming to see us.
If you had a baby,
Trying to be on WWF
That's
or
not
something.
true,
I don't know. Spending
Yana.
all of his, Your Honor,
Yana.
my mother took care of us.
Yana.
Medicine my baby needed, my mother bought it.
so what's going on now? So are you in another relationship?
No, ma'am.
Are you in
Yes.
another
I'm
relationship?
in a different state
He
now.
was in another relationship
No,
because
it's
I
not.
came to the apartment to check on
This
him, and
is a
some
marriage
other
that
woman
could have easily been saved by somebody with some good sense and good counseling, and it seems like you both came from good homes and good parents. You couldn't sit down and figure this out.
I
This
tried,
is just
Your
a
Honor, I
typical
did.
relationship when you got to work together to handle the finances and to handle going here. I mean, just strategically. This is not reason for a divorce.
I tried, Your Honor. He asked
She
for a
didn't try.
divorce.
She didn't
I
try,
never
Your Honor.
wanted a divorce.
Her family was always
You
in the
still
middle
want
of
it?
everything.
Now
yeah,
I
she
do,
still, she still won it.
Now I do, yeah. After 2 years, yeah, I do. I
That's
do.
sad because you know what? I haven't heard anything really negative in terms of character and in terms of what the two of you were trying to do. He's working and not going to school, but he has a good job working, taking care of his family. You're trying to go to school. It could have easily worked out. I worked, went to school. My husband worked. All he did was just worked out the time that he stayed at home while I'm at school at night. You can work on those things.
It
It can
wasn't always
happen.
roses,
don't
Your
want that.
Honor.
She don't want
There's
that.
been physical abuse in our relationship
Physical
as
abuse.
well.
Oh,
No.
that's a different story.
There ain't been no physical abuse.
Yes, it wasn't always
As the old
roses.
folks say now, that's a horse of another color.
When divorce court continues, the judge reprimands David for pushing Janelle.
You are not a little man. And particularly if you're thinking about going into wrestling, that means you probably have some skills.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of David Crouch as he testifies that he never hit Janelle.
It wasn't no physical abuse, Your Honor. We got into an argument.
so you didn't have-
we got into an argument.
He
She
didn't
got
have
up
you
in my
choked up
face.
against the wall?
Can I finish? She got up in my face. I just pushed her off me. She called her folks, wanted to pack
Oh, my
up.
goodness.
A whole gang of folks coming.
He did not-
With a man your size,
Come on.
pushing her off you is physical abuse. You are not a little man. And particularly if you're thinking about going into wrestling, that means you probably have some skills. And that's not funny. Pushing her off of you. That's abuse. It is.
Your Honor, he's...
Fortunately, it wasn't anything worse than that. But don't minimize it, please.
Okay, I don't minimize.
All right.
I justify
Yeah,
that.
let's tell
but
her how it is.
first
I
thing,
just want-
first thing
He
she
slapped
does,
me
Your
out
Honor.
of
You know
the
what?
chair,
All right.
had me choked up against the wall, telling me
up
he
on the
was
wall.
going to kill me.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what happened. Let's tell her
Okay.
how it is.
Yeah, you tell her how it
That's
is.
what happened.
How you brought your posse up and they about to
After
take me
that,
out.
you-
Okay,
right.
now the other side's coming out, and
That's
I see
right.
why this marriage is about to end.
Yeah,
That's right.
Right, okay.
All right, but that's what they say. If you let them talk long enough, give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves.
That's right.
You just hung yourselves. All right. With respect to the doctor's bill, I don't really know what happened. But if you had insurance in force at the time the bill was incurred, which you claim that you did, then it's a real simple thing to do. You contact the insurance carrier who was insuring you at that particular time. But the burden is not on one person to pay. The burden is on both of you to pay if the insurance company doesn't pay. Because you shouldn't have left it up to him only. You could have filled out the insurance claim form as well. But that's a part of the maturity that you learn, is that what the husband doesn't do, you have to do, and not push it off on each other and say, well, he was supposed to do it. The point is, it has to get done. And you probably just didn't know and didn't understand. Since it was his job, you probably didn't think that you could do it. He had to handle it. But this is a lesson learned. If the insurance form is not filled out by the employee, then you can get the form as well, as long as you're covered or as long as you know the child is covered. And fill it out. And in the future, so you'll know, you get a set of claim forms since you have the child, and make sure that you fill them out and send them in. But if the insurance company will not pay, then each of you is ordered to pay half of this obligation to the creditor for the medical expenses for your child. That should be no argument. All right? Now, since you were the employee and the insured, you have to fill out the forms and start this paperwork. And I'm ordering you to do it within the next 5 days. Just submit the form. If it wasn't submitted, if it was, send this over to the insurance company. I'm going to order that a copy of this bill be made so you can send it over to the insurance company and they'll know what you're talking about. That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
I wish you well.
When divorce court continues, the judge reacts to the case in her private chambers.
Okay.
Oh, it finally came out there. I was standing there thinking the same thing you were
I'm trying
saying.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
What's
Boy, they're not throwing dirt at
what's
each
wrong
other.
with this picture?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this picture? But it's the violence.
Maybe that's his wrestling hold, the claw or something, you know. I don't know.
Not funny, Joe.
Something happened. Something happened.
Yeah. But that's sad because
Yeah.
it started out well.
They could have worked that out.
They could have worked that out.
Unless there was, if there was a
But see,
physical
that's- but
abuse,
see,
then
but-
obviously there was other problems we
But
weren't
there are
hearing about.
issues when a younger person, when you're fresh, I mean, a 10 years age difference, a 12 years age difference in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing to have.
In today's session of divorce court, Arthur Whitley says his wife's affairs drove him away.
She even moved a guy in.
was
The same
it?
guy you just broke up with last week.
Oh my goodness!
But Shannon Williams says Arthur cheated on her while she was pregnant and then left her for another woman.
I didn't know her until I had saw them together one day.
First of all, I think you have a nerve, and I've always marveled at people who can walk into a courtroom saying, I'm his girlfriend, I'm engaged.
Now Shannon wants Arthur to pay for leaving his family in today's session of divorce court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
We're in the matter of Shannon Williams versus Arthur Eugene Whitley. I understand that you're divorcing after 6 years of marriage. And Mrs. Williams, you're asking for child support for your 4-year-old twins?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it. Why did this marriage end after 6 years?
First of all, Your Honor, I feel like that he should be paying me child support because I had a miscarriage. He told me if I did not have his child by the time he turned the age of 26, he was going to leave me.
Gave you an ultimatum?
Yes, ma'am.
No, Your Honor.
So, Your Honor, I did go ahead on and have his twins. He cheated on me throughout the whole relationship, Your Honor. He denied that, but I knew he was lying because I was not cheating on him.
How'd you know he was lying?
Because he gave me STD the first time I was pregnant and the second time.
Your Honor,
So
that's
you were
not the full
pregnant once
story.
and had a miscarriage?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to the doctor and you told that you had a sexually transmitted disease?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you continued to have sex with him because he's your husband, of course?
Yes, ma'am, through better or worse.
No, it wasn't.
And you got pregnant again and contracted another sexually transmitted disease?
Yes, ma'am.
No, that's not the whole story. That's not why we got here to this point here today. Just cause
Well, okay, if that's not why you got here to this point, did you in fact transmit a sexual disease to your wife while
well,
she
we
was
don't
pregnant?
know who gave it to who because she could have gave it to me. Like I say, the
You
way
had it too?
but then I didn't know I had it until she found out she had it. But the reason our relationship is at this
So
point
you're
here today.
telling me you didn't have sexual relationships outside the marriage?
Yes, but after she did.
You didn't have it outside the marriage?
Say
Yes
what
or
now?
no?
Did I have a relationship outside the marriage?
Yes.
Yes, after she cheated on me with my family member,
With the
a family
neighborhood
member
being
of mine.
both.
Well,
Well, was this before or after she was
this
pregnant?
this was before. Before she cheated on, we had got married. We was married a year, and my brother was very close to me. He got sick, and he was on his dying bed, and she know this. She know how close me and my brother was. And the day that we buried my brother, some family member of mine came down from out of town, and I invited them to come stay with me for that night while they was in town. And I had fell asleep in there on the couch. And when I woke up, I just woke up on my own, and something just told me to go back in the back room. And it was dark back there, and I didn't see my cousin up here with me. So when I got back there, I clicked on the light, him and her laying down there going at it.
That's
And it seemed like from that point there.
Having sex
No,
in your
ma'am.
own
when
house
they was
with
on
your
top of each
cousin?
other, they was on top of each other. She had a negligee on.
No, ma'am,
And
that's not
they was
true.
on top of each other going at it.
Your
And-
cousin who you open your door to and let him come into your house?
on the same night my brother died. The same
Was she
night he
pregnant
died.
then?
Yes.
Were you
Yeah.
pregnant then?
No, ma'am, I was not, Your
Yes,
Honor.
she was. Yes, she
No,
was.
I was not.
Yes, she was. And
How
then
long ago was this?
That was
His
like
brother
the
died
beginning
in
of the
'94. I
marriage. That
got
was in the
pregnant with
beginning
my
of the
first
marriage.
child in '95.
No, that was.
Well,
His
you
brother-
said it was at the beginning of the marriage.
His
Yeah, the
brother-
beginning of the
Excuse me. The beginning of the marriage
Yeah,
was
that was at the beginning of the marriage.
94. You got married in December, right?
Yes.
And the beginning of the marriage would have been 94, December to early 95, right?
Yeah. But I know when she did that kind of like destroyed our relationship.
So then you decided I can go out and do the same?
No, I didn't decide that. I stayed. I should have left her then, but I stayed and tried to work it out because we was new, we was young, just starting our relationship. So I stayed and tried to work it out.
Well, wait a minute now. He's painting a different picture.
Yeah, but then
You said
He
wait a
is
minute.
lying.
He
No,
said
I'm not lying. That's
you
the
told
truth.
me I thought he was cheating.
Yeah.
No, he was
No,
cheating.
she thought.
Excuse
she
me.
thought that's what it was. And she accused me for
Mr.
that.
Whitley, I'm asking a question. Now he's giving me specific, or at least he described
Yeah,
an incident.
that's the truth.
What about that, Mrs. Williams?
She know the truth.
Yeah,
She didn't
yeah,
think it was gonna
I
come
thought
out
he was
today.
cheating. Yeah, he was
No,
denying
what
it.
about you and his cousin?
But that's
playing
a lie.
kissing cousins?
That's a lie, Your Honor.
No,
That is
Your
a
Honor,
lie.
I
That
would
is
not
a
lie
lie,
on my
Your
dead
Honor.
brother's grave. I wouldn't sit here and
That
lie
is a
like
lie.
Stop, Mr. Whitley. So you're denying that the cousin was over? What part of the
Yeah,
lie?
yeah, the cousin was over, and all of us had a lot to drink. I went in there and went to sleep.
So you went
Now-
to sleep
So
with
I
your
didn't
husband?
catch y'all up there
No,
on the bed
he was
together.
in there on the couch. I was in the bed. Now, where his
Yeah.
cousin was at, I do not know.
So you went to your bed.
Now she agreed with everything
Stop,
but
Mr.
that.
Whitley. You went to your bed, the bed that you and your husband shared.
Yes, ma'am.
And your husband was the one sleeping on the couch. So the cousin was on top of your husband.
I don't know where his
So
cousin
where was he
at.
at?
I don't
Where was
know
he
where his
sleeping at?
cousin was at.
Well, he said that he was in the bedroom. Now, if
Yeah.
both of you were in the
And that
bedroom,
destroyed our relationship.
Stop. Were you in the bedroom together that night? Do you recall that?
No, ma'am, I was in the bedroom by myself.
So you're saying that you and your husband, you do agree you didn't sleep in the same bed that night?
Yeah, he did not sleep because we had a water bed. He did not sleep in the bed because he said it felt uncomfortable on his back. But he slept on
Wasn't
the
nothing
couch.
wrong with my back.
You mean that particular night only? It felt uncomfortable on his back? What, did you just get a water bed that night?
No, ma'am, we had a
bought
water
the water.
bed. And we've been sleeping like that for a long time. I slept in the bed.
So why then would the water bed be uncomfortable that night on his back?
That's what he told me, Your Honor. He told me that it was uncomfortable for him to sleep in
So
the bed.
that's the only night he didn't sleep in that
No,
bed?
ma'am, he did not sleep in that bed at all. Maybe
Yes, I
once or
did.
twice since
I
we
loved
had the
that
bed.
bed.
So how long had you had it?
For about a year.
So in a year's time, you and your husband only slept together in the bed twice. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, maybe twice.
That's because
So
you
you're
messed up.
married. You bought a water bed.
No, ma'am, we was not married at the time his brother died. He lied about that.
Oh.
We was not married. We was staying together, but we was not married. His brother died in June of '94. We got married in December of '94.
So and he was staying in your house and it was your water bed
Yes, ma'am.
that you had bought before you met him.
No, ma'am, we had
We
been
was
together.
together.
We was prior together 3 years before we got married.
Oh, well, nobody told me that. See, I don't know.
We
All
was-
I have is that you dated 4 years. It didn't say you lived together.
Yes, we lived together.
Oh, so, but you guys define it as dated.
Yeah.
No,
Nice little terminology.
we
Yes,
live
ma'am.
together to me.
I don't understand all of this. Now, he's saying that you cheated on him with your
Yeah.
husband, with his cousin. And that's why this marriage is
No,
ending.
ma'am.
And you're
No, ma'am.
saying that
Yeah.
he cheated on you. Now, what evidence do you have?
Okay, Your Honor. He denied.
I said, what evidence do you have?
Whatever.
I already know he denied. What do you have?
I
No,
got
just-
more evidence.
Just the STD that he gave me twice.
So based upon the fact that you got an STD when you were pregnant the first time.
and I caught him. I caught him with her.
We was just friends.
This lady
Your
right here?
Honor. Yes, Your
We
Honor.
was just friends at
This
the time.
lady here came
I
to
used
my
to go to
house.
Hold
her.
on a sec. Wait now. You had your chance
Okay.
to explain your little self about what you saw and observed.
I didn't get a chance to finish though.
Well, you got all the chance that I gave you, and that's all,
All
you're
right.
going to get. Now, you tell me what you say. You claim you saw him
Yes,
with her.
yes, ma'am. And with her, that was my last drop.
When?
Before her, it was like 7 months ago. But before
Before
her,
you separated?
yes, ma'am. But before her, it was several other occasions. We would be asleep at night, his pager just going off. So I would get his page and call the number. Some of the women said that they were having sexual relations, some of them wasn't. The women was calling my house threatening me, threatening to do different stuff to me.
Threatening to do you harm?
Yes, ma'am. He was driving these women around in my
That's
car.
her sister and them used to beat me.
Yeah.
and-
So
and
now,
make
what
up
did you
stories
observe
on my
with
people.
Mr. Whitley and this young lady? What's your name?
I used to see him.
Standing up
Tammy.
talking.
Tammy, what did you
Standing there
observe with
talking.
them?
I used to see them together all the time, Your Honor. He told me that, okay,
That's
first
because
of
I
all,
couldn't talk
them
to her,
together
so I
where?
talked to her.
in her car. And they would drive my truck.
That's
Doing
our
working
truck.
hours when he was supposed to be at work, when he was
ma'am,
supposed to be at home?
He did not have a job, Your Honor. He did at first, but he stopped working. He
So
would not
where
work.
would you see them?
Yeah, man, home supporting the kids. Babysitting, who's
Mr.
babysitting the
Whitley,
kids while you at work?
Where would you see them?
Riding around in her car or riding around in my truck. I had got to the point I
And
would
what
get
were
out
you
and walk.
doing?
I would get out and walk. I would see them. One time I caught them together, told him to stop. He wouldn't even stop. He kept on going.
When Divorce Court continues, Arthur's new girlfriend takes the stand.
He told her he could not be with her, he was gonna be with me. And she was outside of my house clowning, Your Honor.
She came over there to get
that
me.
was
Hey, we getting ready to have a war in here. No, stop. Stop.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce Court continues in the case of Shannon Williams versus Arthur Whitley with testimony from Arthur's new girlfriend.
Tammy was like a person I could go to and talk to about my problem.
That's what he
and
tells
when she
me.
first seen us together, she thought that we was dating. But Tammy she
quiet,
had
Mrs.
someone
Williams.
at the time. She had someone at the time.
So she was just somebody you could
yeah,
confide in.
confide in. And then
Oh, you all gonna take the counselors and the preachers and all of the, you gonna take up folks like that out of business. Why is it that everybody that's having a problem in their marriage, they always seem to find another lady, if it's the man, and the woman finds another man who doesn't have a degree in anything, but they can talk to him so good. And they can really help them in their marriage.
sometimes
and
that's all
they just,
you need, some listening.
Are you
Somebody
going to
with a
talk
good
to
ear.
her to help you in your marriage?
Well, I didn't need her help. I just need somebody to talk to. I
Talk
had
to
so much
about
pressure.
what?
Because I was up under so much
Okay,
pressure.
what
and
about
stress.
the
Like I
other
say,
What's the
six
point of
women?
talking to this person?
Okay, like I say, when they came home,
No.
in the
What's the
morning,
point of talking to the person?
just to get this pressure off of me, some stress off me.
But just to say it out loud, just to get it
Yeah,
released.
yeah.
Well,
Talk
why
to-
you just
tell
couldn't say that out in
somebody.
the air?
Because I just wanted somebody to hear it. I wanted
And
somebody
then
to know
what
the
were they
things I
supposed
was
to do
going
after
through.
they heard it?
Well, I just want to know something. I don't know. I just wanted somebody to know what I was going through.
But you
because
didn't
I
want
was
any
hurt.
help.
Yeah, I wanted some help.
Did you
but I
want
couldn't
somebody
afford
to
the
help you? Did you want somebody to help save your marriage?
Yeah.
Did you want somebody to help give you some direction in terms of how to...
I wanted the marriage to work.
I haven't asked the question yet.
That's not true.
Did you want someone to help you resolve your marital difficulties?
Yeah. She always told me good things to go home and say and do.
What'd she tell you to do?
She'll tell me, say, instead of going home arguing with her when she come in and she get to going off and bickering and stuff, she said, just go in the other room and watch TV in the other room, sit down a minute until you calm down. Instead of just all y'all always just getting into a little fury there, just go in there and sit down. And I tried that and it worked a few times. But she'll come in there and she'll come
So
wherever
now why
I'm
could you
at.
listen to this lady's advice
Because
and couldn't listen to your wife?
My wife never talked to me. She had
so
new
now how did
friends.
she-
She had so many new friends from
That's
a new
not true,
job.
Your Honor.
She even moved a guy in. When the coworker that I was cooking for in the morning time, I cooked them breakfast and they come over there and play cards in my
was
house.
that?
And she started dating
Who
the
was
same
that?
guy you just broke up with last week.
Who was that?
You just broke up with him last week.
Who was that?
She moved him into the house.
Who is
She
that?
moved him into the
How
house.
did she move a man into your house?
A week after I moved out, she moved him in. All the furniture in there is mine. Everything in the house is mine. I didn't take nothing. She threw my clothes. When she didn't throw all my clothes out, she threw out the clothes that she wanted me to have.
And then she moved another man
Yeah,
in?
one of the
within a
guys that was
week?
coming over there playing within a week.
Okay, now when did you
And she
and
said
Miss...
she was faithful.
So
she
when did
gonna
you
be
and Miss
faithful.
Tammy become more than friends?
So she threw me out. I asked Tammy, could Tammy take my clothes and keep them over her house? 'Cause I didn't have nowhere to go. I was just in the street. I ain't had no job. I just was lost out there. So I had to find myself. I just asked Tammy to keep my clothes, stuff like that. So Tammy used to come check on me, her and her mother. You know.
Where were you staying while she was checking on you?
Sleep in cars wherever I could. And then her mother found out that I was sleeping in the car and stuff. So her mother started helping me out and stuff like that. I joined their church and everything. And then my life started turning around. And the last 4
And
months,
then
I
you
done found
forgot, and then what?
the last 4 months, I done found a nice job, and I'm trying to work myself back to status where I should be.
So is
and
Tammy
that,
still a friend, or is it gone beyond
well,
that?
it kind of went beyond that.
What has it gone to now?
We like relationship now. We have a
There
relationship
was a
going now.
relationship.
You mean you
off
boyfriend,
top.
girlfriend now?
Yeah, we
Off
boyfriend
top.
and girlfriend now. But it wasn't like that at first.
Yes, it
wasn't
was.
like we just became so good a friend till it just changed on over into boyfriend
tell
and
you,
girlfriend.
But
They
you know
have
what?
stopped.
That's why you don't go to another woman who
Well,
doesn't
she
have...
never said
Hold on
nothing
a
bad
second.
about my relationship,
I
though,
didn't
the
tell
whole
you that.
time.
That's not my point. That's what usually happens. When you're having problems in a marriage and you want the marriage to work and you want to save the marriage, there are persons who have studied long and hard.
Yeah, but that costs
And
money.
they're skilled and trained at that.
That costs money.
There are ministers who are out there that don't.
And I went into
Why
church
don't you be
until I met
quiet?
her family. I went into church then. They never took me to church, never showed
You
me
can take
nothing like that.
yourself.
He wouldn't go.
Come forward, Miss Tammy. What's your last name?
Collier.
So now, let me hear your side of how this
Tank dogs,
friendship.
neighborhood hoe.
What'd you say?
See, that's all.
What did you say?
That's the type of person she is.
What did you say, Miss Williams?
I said they call her Tank Dog, the neighborhood hoe.
That's her name?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what she
That's
called.
the church-going girl lady
Yeah,
that brought
she
him
called.
into
She
the
called.
Lord.
Excuse
what
me,
she
Your
called
Honor.
me.
Okay,
That's what
if
she
they
called
was just
That what
friends
she
when it all
called me.
started, why was she coming over to my house? She kicked the screen off the hedges. When I came home, they was up in there
No, that's
fighting.
a story.
He told
That's
her
a
he could
story.
not be with her. He was gonna be with me, and she was
No.
outside of my house clowning, Your Honor.
She
No,
came
that-
over there to get
that
you.
was-
Oh, hey, we getting ready to have a war in here. No, stop. Stop. Miss Whitley, let me hear from you. Miss Collier.
I came to her house only once. That was because she was calling my house, leaving obscene messages threatening me.
When was this? After
That-
they separated? Or
That
before?
was
First time
that
she seen
before.
her.
That
The
was
first time
that's
she
when they
ever
was
seen us
going.
together.
Mr. Whitley, let Miss Collier talk for herself. Since she's such a good talker, remember that's why you went to her.
Yeah.
Because she gives good advice and she has good things to say.
Yeah.
Let me hear this great advice.
All right.
Now tell
That
me.
was while they was together, and she thought that I was, you know what I'm saying, dating him. I'm like cool with all the guys in the
But
neighborhood
if they
because
why
I'm
she
like,
over my house fighting them
Miss
then?
Williams,
No,
wasn't
wasn't
no
it?
fight.
no,
no
wasn't no
fight.
fight. Wasn't no
All right
fight.
now, I have told
Wasn't
you
no fight.
all. I want one person talking at a time. This is not a free-for-all. This is not a chance for the scorned wife to yell at the girlfriend, and it's not a chance for the girlfriend to decide to call the wife a bunch of names and to yell at her. Because now one thing I don't put up with in my court is that type of behavior. First of all, I think you have a nerve, and I've always marveled at people who can walk into a courtroom saying, I'm his girlfriend, I'm engaged, I'm his fiance, and people are still married. Haven't even gotten divorced yet. To me, that already puts a cloud on you as far as I'm concerned.
When divorce court continues, Arthur walks on thin ice with the judge.
Joe, stand over there. If he opens his mouth again, you know just what to do. Get him out my face.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Shannon Williams, who says Arthur Whitley had an affair during their marriage.
Me and him didn't get together until they separated.
But they're still married.
But she
But
had
she
another
have a
boyfriend.
boyfriend
She moved a boyfriend
herself.
in.
She moved
the guy in a week after I
Mr. Whitley, I
left.
told you to be quiet. Come on now, Miss Collier.
She
Tell me.
moved the guy in. She went on.
Don't tell
with-
me about her. Tell me about you and Mr. Whitley.
Okay, we together now. And I mean, she called my mom.
How did you get together? How did you become
we was
friends?
just first we were cause like I said, I'm cool with all the guys in the neighborhood because
What does that mean?
I'm just that type of person. I don't hang around too many females because they keep up too much trouble. So I hang with the guys because I was like a tomboy, whatever you saying, growing up. Me and him was just friends, and then after they separated, you know what I'm saying, we started doing our own thing.
We used to go fishing together.
Did you know her before they?
I didn't know her until I had saw them together one day. I had never
When she
seen.
drove
I
by
just
threw
knew
them
he had
clothes out
he
the
had a
truck.
baby. Yeah, when she drew back.
That was
But you didn't
met
know
her.
his wife before the two of you got together.
No. I just knew he. I just
She only
knew,
knew what I
knew he
told
had a
her.
baby.
Oh, you know what? Be quiet. Sit down. Sit down. What do you want? What kind of work are you doing? You don't want to talk one at a time and let me make any sense of this? I'm not having it. You're working now because you got yourself together. You started going to church, and thanks to Miss Collier, your life is just going up, and now you got you a good job and you're working, right?
Yeah.
And then you're making some money, right?
Yeah.
Now, are you paying any support for these twins? Yes or no?
Yes.
How?
I don't pay support through the courts, but I go get them every
I asked
Friday.
you, are you paying any support to Mrs. Williams for these children?
Yeah, whatever she say they need, I try to get it to
Okay,
her.
I got that answer. Whatever she says they need, whenever I need to. I don't understand why fathers who are persons who don't have
Well, I
custody.
just got a job, Your Honor.
Why is it that the parent who doesn't have custody always have to wait on the other parent to tell me what they need and when they need it? They're human beings. They're children. They need every day.
And I support them
No,
every day.
Joe, stand over there. If he opens his mouth again, you know just what to do. Get him out my face.
When divorce court continues, the judge rules on the case and goes over the verdict in chambers. Divorce court continues in the case of Arthur Whitley, who says he caught Shannon Williams with one of his relatives.
I'm going to order that you pay $400 per month for child support for your set of twins, and then that way that she can get what they need when they need it, and we don't have to worry about calling you. That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise. Parties may leave the court.
Ooh, sorry, Joe. Sorry. Sorry, Joe. Didn't mean to do that to you.
Do what I can when I can. When
No,
she tells me they need
not
something.
what I can when I can.
Well, that was when she
calls
tells me.
me
Yeah,
and tells
that's
me
it.
what they need, then I give
Then I
them
give them
something.
it.
Does anybody call and tell him when he needs to eat?
Yeah. Should call him 3 times a day. Hey, you need to eat now.
Yeah. Does anybody have to
You need
call
the
and tell
lights.
him you need some lights
it's dark
and you
out, you
need
need
some
lights.
food and you need some clothes when she calls me and tells me what they need? I am so sick of hearing that one, you know.
Yeah. Sing a
And in
different
other words,
tune.
if she never calls me and never asks for anything,
Then I
then
don't
I
do
won't
anything.
give her anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because they must not need anything.
That's
then.
what the bottom line is.
Yeah.
You know. And hopefully she'll never call me.
Yeah. If I don't say
And
anything,
this
maybe
is
she
another
will.
one where I'm thankful they just separated recently, and maybe the message is getting over.
Yeah.
In today's session of Divorce Court,
She told me he's helping her to father a child for her and her lesbian lover.
Oh, no.
Michelle Landrum says she forgave husband Lonnie for cheating in the past, but then she started receiving phone calls from other women describing every intimate detail.
He put Chunky Monkey ice cream all over her body and had,
Ooh, that's more than I need to know.
hello.
Lonnie argues Michelle forced him to cheat.
She don't want to give it to me. It's been 6 months since we had sex,
my
and
God.
last month she told me that I have to pay for some sex. I said, that's it.
Michelle Landrum confronts Lonnie Landrum in this session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
This is the matter of Michelle Landrum versus Lonnie Landrum. And Mrs. Landrum, I'm advised that you want a divorce after 8 years, and you want your husband to pay so that you can get another place to live.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what's that all about?
Your Honor, for the last 10 months, my husband drives a cab, and he's been using his cab service as his hobo, okay? For the last 3 months.
You mean like picking up women?
Yes, for the last 3 months.
Wait a minute.
For the last 3
Your Honor.
months.
You wait a minute.
For the last 3 months, Your Honor, I have been receiving phone calls from women telling me intimate details about things that are going on with Lonnie Landrum and their selves.
And you sit there and listen to?
That's not true.
Your Honor.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Your
That's
Honor.
not true.
How do you know she hasn't received the phone call?
Because I know for a fact she has.
How do you
Because I
know?
haven't given my phone number out to no women. That's how I know.
You don't give them a card when you're driving the cab?
Well, that's directly to my phone. It's not to the home phone.
And why
At
do you
this
say
ti-
they're calling you?
Your Honor,
Are they doing the hours he's at work? Are the calls coming in then?
when he's always supposedly at work.
Did you tell him any of his name?
Oh, no, they wouldn't give me names. This woman called and told me, your husband's here with me, and we've been together, and what have you. She never gave me a name. But what I'm here about today...
Why did you believe her?
I didn't believe her. I didn't believe her. I didn't accuse him of these things. I kept that stuff in. I confronted him and asked him about
Honor,
it. I confronted him and asked him about it, Your Honor. And as he always does, he denies it, tells me that I'm insecure,
Well, wait,
that I'm
what
jealous.
did the woman say to make you believe that it
There's-
was real?
No,
Did she give you some details
Yes,
about
this
him?
last Saturday.
Wait just a minute. Did she give you some details about him that only you would know?
Yes.
Like what?
Like the fact that he put Chunky Monkey ice cream, which is his favorite ice cream, all over her body and had oral sex with her.
Woo,
He-
that's real
he
intimate, more
sweats-
than I need to know.
He
Your
sweats
Honor, I don't even
extremely.
have- I don't
excuse
even
me.
have that with-
He
I don't even
strips-
have
he
that with her.
He sweats immensely when he's having sex. The young lady that I'm speaking
Your Honor, wait a
of
minute.
right now.
Please.
No, wait, Mr. Landrum. I'm going to give you a chance to
Please,
rebut.
ma'am,
I'm going to give you a chance to rebut. Let her finish the statement. You're going to be able to say something about everything that she's talking about. I'm going to give you the opportunity. And when it's your turn, I am not going to allow Ms. Landrum to interrupt you.
Okay.
And while she's talking, don't interrupt
Why
her.
do I have to listen to these lies?
Because
though?
I said so.
Okay.
Is that enough?
Yes.
Now you're going into another situation?
Yes.
A different person?
Yes, this is the.
Well,
this is the,
wait a minute. Let's take a little order. What about the Chunky Monkey ice cream and the oral sex?
that
You know anything about that person?
No, I don't know nothing about that person.
And why? Because that's not your MO?
Well, I had sex with this person, but it was only a result as she was withholding sex from me for the last 6 months. And last month was the final straw. She told me I had to pay for some sex. I said, pay for some sex. It's been 6 months since we had sex. And last month she told me that I have to pay for some sex. I said, that's it. That's all.
And what'd you do then?
I mean, I knew this girl named Mia. She's a lesbian, and we had sex with me and her.
And that's the Chunky Monkey ice cream?
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with Chunky Monkey ice cream.
No, but I'm saying that's the person she's describing?
Yeah, that's the one she's talking about right now. And that's...
So wait a minute now, Mr. Landrum. Let me go back to you. She said she received a phone call from a person. The person said, I had sex with your husband, and this is what we did, and this is how it went down. You said to me, no woman has ever called my wife and told her that I've had sex with her because I haven't had it, and no woman has my phone number. So how did she get all these details from this person if she didn't have your phone number?
That was the lady that when we was living in a hotel, that was another person. This person right here is a lady who I work, and I called her, so she got her phone. She got the phone number from my phone records and called her.
Doesn't matter where she got it from. You told me didn't no woman have your phone number.
No. My wife, is the one who called the woman from my phone records.
Oh, so you placed the call?
Yes, she placed the call.
From work or home phone records?
From home while she's sitting down.
Wait a minute, where did she get the woman's number from? From home telephone bill?
Yeah, from my telephone bill on my cell phone. That's where she got the number
What you mean my telephone bill? If you're married, it's y'all's telephone bill.
Nah, I'm the only one paying the bills. I've been paying the bills and taking care of her for the last year.
And guess what? Even though you're paying it, it's her cell phone bill as well, because what's your bill is her bill, and what's her bill is your bill as long as you're married. So she had a right to look at the cell phone bill.
Point made. She had a right.
So now you get a cell phone bill. Your husband's a cab driver,
yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
As a cab driver, he has to make a lot of calls.
Correct.
So did you go down and call every number on the bill?
No, ma'am. This particular number.
How did you select this particular number?
Because this particular number showed up several times, and each time the calls were lengthy calls, 27 minutes, 45 minutes. On the cell phone.
So you knew it was more than a business call.
Hello, and it was his call that he made from the cell phone calling her. So I want to know, who are you calling and spending, because this bill is almost $400. Who are you calling and spending this much time talking to? What are you talking about if these are all clients?
So why did you ask him before you called the woman?
No, he wasn't home.
No,
he hadn't been home.
And you couldn't reach him?
Oh, he turns his cell phone off. He has call ID on the cell phone.
And you didn't know he was coming home?
No, he doesn't come home. He doesn't.
So you decided to call and ask a lot of questions?
No, I called and asked who was. I said, hello, is Lonnie there? This is what I did. Hello, is Lonnie there?
Play detective real good.
She said, no, he's not here. Who's this? I said, oh, okay, then. I hung up. She *69 me back. She said, who are you? I said, this is Michelle.
That's what happened with that telephone company.
I said, my name is Michelle, and I'm Lonnie's wife. She said, oh, well, you know, Lonnie's been taking care of me. He's been giving me his money. He's been paying my bills. He just brought my two sons 2 scooters. He has taken me to the movies. Then she tells me, not only this, Your Honor, I was pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant. I lost my baby a few years ago. And I've been trying to have a baby with my husband since then. And when I talked to her, and she told me that she was...
You're not having sex.
Mr. Landrum,
when I talked to her, and I told her, she told me she was a lesbian, and then she told me that they went to the doctor because he's helping her to father a child for her and her lesbian lover.
Oh, no. You're not doing that, are you, Mr. Landrum?
Listen, yes,
Your Honor.
I am.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Why would you do that for another
because
woman
she's
and
been
not your
holding
wife?
out for sex for the last 6 months.
He had an affair on me before, and that's why I stopped, because I don't know what he has out there.
I'm talking to Mr. Landrum now.
I apologize.
She's not a good wife. She haven't been giving me sex for the last 6 months.
And why not?
I don't know why.
Did she tell you
keep
why not?
asking for money. She don't clean, she don't cook, she don't do nothing.
How would you know if you're not
because
there?
I know, because when I come home, there ain't nothing cooked for me. She don't do nothing. She's always accusing me of sleeping with women, constantly accusing me throughout our
And
marriage.
none of those accusations are true.
Listen, if it was true, we would have been here sooner than this, right?
When divorce court continues, Lonnie tries to defend himself.
I would find hotel keys, phone numbers of different women.
People leave stuff in my cab
Oh,
every day.
Mr. Landrum.
She put that on there.
That is the lamest excuse I've ever heard.
Wait a minute.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Michelle versus Lonnie Landrum, who claims Michelle told him he had to pay her to have sex.
So you're telling me for 6 months you came home
Yes,
every night?
I try to get in the mood. Oh,
My lips open.
okay.
For 6 months you came home after work every night.
I come home,
Just answer my question.
Yes, ma'am.
And each time you came home for 6 whole months. Now
Yes.
think about it, Mr. Landrum.
Yes,
Because that's a long time.
Maybe longer.
And
maybe
so
longer.
Your wife you don't enjoy sex or something?
No. That's what she told me.
Now I can
That's what she
answer
told
you,
me.
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Landrum, hold on.
Now I can
Yeah.
answer you, Your Honor.
Of course, if I
Okay.
asked you the question.
Okay, the reason that I withheld sex from him, he had an affair on me once before in 1998 with a woman whose number I found in his wallet, and I called.
You do a lot of searching.
Oh yeah, because when you know what, when my spirit tell me that it ain't right, I'm gonna pursue it, and I
Well,
pursued
sometimes
it.
if you leave things alone, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, but you know what? This day and age, Your Honor, you can die too. When you
Okay,
got
so
someone
when you
out
found
there.
out,
Well,
and you
anyway,
stopped. You searched in 1998.
Yes,
And this day and age, you can die.
exactly.
Because AIDS is real.
Yes.
And other venereal disease.
Yes.
And I agree.
Yes.
But you found out in 98.
Yes.
He was with another woman.
Yes.
Okay. Did you leave him?
Yeah, I left him.
So how'd you get back together?
We got back together like
Why?
being stupid. Being stupid.
You
One of
forgot
my
about this day and age.
And not only that, Your
You
Honor.
thought times had changed.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I love
You thought we moved to another century,
No.
times had changed.
No, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't, because I am very religious about marriage. I'm serious about marriage. He came to me. He apologized. He asked me to go to he'll go to counseling. He'll do whatever it takes
you
to get out of
forgave
marriage.
him?
I forgave him.
Okay.
I was her security blanket, Your Honor.
Well, aren't you her husband, Mr. Landrum?
When we broke up, the reason we got back together, I was her security blanket.
Mr. Landrum, aren't you her husband?
Yes,
Weren't
and that's
you,
why
and you
I
were the
took her back.
provider?
That's why I took her back because
why
I
did you
was
go
her.
back? If
I
you-
was her security blanket,
my
and she seen it wasn't that easy without me.
Okay,
Oh,
so
my
now if you
goodness.
just went back because you were her
Yeah,
security
yes.
blanket,
and I felt a responsibility to her.
what responsibility did you feel?
I felt the responsibility that she was my wife, and we was having problems, and I did feel remorseful, and we wanted to get back together, and we got back together.
Because that's what you wanted as well.
Yes,
You
that's
still
what I
loved your
wanted.
wife.
I still loved my wife all the way until like. It's
And did you make a commitment that you'd never do it again?
Well, yes. To
And what
myself.
happened?
These problems started occurring. She just stopped having sex with me, and I'm like, "What's the problem? What's the problem?" I mean, I come home, you know,
So
I
you
bring her
forgave him in
flowers.
'98, but then
Yeah.
was it still in the back of your head and you never really went back to being your same old self and you could never trust him again for
it
real?
was a trust issue, and
Right. And it was difficult.
It was, and I prayed every day and asked the Lord to give me the strength. And I told Lonnie, if we get back together, if it ever happens again, I'm out of here because
But no, but here's what I'm saying. You forgave him.
Yes, I did.
From the '98 incident.
Yes.
He came back.
Yes, and
You
we were
re-
sexually intimate
Until
up until this
till
year.
you found that letter.
Up until like this 6 months in this year.
And what happened then?
I would find condoms, open used condoms in his cab. I would find hotel keys, phone numbers of different women, and just a lot of different things. And I became, because that's his pattern, he did it before. So I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna stop right now because I'm not gonna take any more further chances laying up with this man. I don't know what he's doing. I didn't know what he was doing.
Mr. Landrum, you're not stupid enough to have open condoms and hotel keys in the cab, are you?
That's not. A lot of people get in my cab. People leave stuff in my cab.
And when people get in your
every
cab,
day.
they leave open condoms.
They leave stuff in my cab every day.
come on, Mr.
I don't-
Landrum.
There
Who
wasn't
you-
nothing open.
Oh,
she
Mr.
said, She
Landrum.
put that on there.
That is the lamest excuse I've ever
Wait a minute,
heard.
wait a minute. She put that on there.
You wait a minute. That's the lamest
No,
excuse.
I'm not saying
Stop,
nobody left
Mr.
that in my
Landrum.
cab.
People don't get in your cab with open
No.
condoms packages, do
Okay. They were closed, condoms in the back seat she found. snooping in the back seat. It's never been about the sex or the relationship. It's been about money with her, and that's what it's about right now. It's about money. Everything is about money.
Why you say that? If you're the husband and you're the only one working, and I don't know why, but apparently for the last 10 years you've been together and married 8 years, you said?
Yes.
Apparently the two of you have selected or chosen that she didn't work and you did work.
Well, she worked.
Your Honor, I've been working.
She worked, but
So why do you say it's about money?
Because it's about money now that she haven't been working.
Your Honor.
Well, doesn't she need the money?
I always give her money and different things, but she just spend too much money, and I try to, keep her.
So now you have an argument over finances.
It's been about money. It's nothing but money, material things. I bought her that bracelet,
you can't give her
ring.
enough.
I bought her all that. On her finger, I bought her everything, wardrobe, everything.
So are you mad that he's buying for you and somebody else too? Because what about this woman that says that you're taking care of her and you bought her son scooters and you bought her jewelry?
That was a result of her withholding sex from me for the last 6 months.
So then it sounds like the other woman is buying you too. Is she buying sex? What's the difference?
Hello,
No,
she told me that.
withholding sex from me.
No. Your wife is withholding sex, but you're over here with somebody else. You're buying her son things, you're buying her jewelry, you're giving her things. So if you're spending your money to buy this other woman, sounds like to me you're buying sex from her.
Well, it's not.
Why you can't buy sex from your wife?
Well, see, the other woman is buying me things also.
Oh, I see.
When divorce court continues, Judge Mableen cautions Michelle.
I can afford to keep a place on my own, but I can't afford to save the money.
If you keep talking, you're not going to get anything.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Lonnie versus Michelle Landrum, who's divorcing Lonnie because he began cheating again.
I want a divorce because this is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm constantly being accused. She's not a good wife for me.
Sounds like the accusations may not be all wrong.
I mean, snooping around, calling all the time, calling my friends. I get calls every single day for the last 10 years.
Mrs. Landrum. That's too much jealousy.
From people who say, do you know Michelle?
This man is lying.
Do you know Michelle?
He is lying. How am I
lying? You just told her that.
We're living with my mom right now at this time. Women have called my...
Wait a minute, living with your mother?
Yes.
So now you want to leave?
I'm out of here. I deserve better because I'm not going to keep...
So what you want from me?
I want a place. We were saving money to get a place to live. I was contributing my money to the house.
So you're living at your mother's house?
Because I can't be there with my...
Stop, Mrs. Landrum.
I can't be there with my
Stop,
mom.
Mrs. Landrum. You've been there with all this time.
Your Honor, my mom, I don't want to get into the personal things with my mother, but
please.
She asked me, she told Lonnie...
She wants you to move.
She told Lonnie and I both in July that we can only be there 90 days.
Temporary.
Exactly, because of her current situation.
That's all right.
I told him
I don't blame her, regardless. You old enough to have your own place?
And I had my own place. I was a resident manager. When I hurt myself, they fired me.
So what do you want from Mr. Landrum?
Mr. Landrum, because I contribute my money to that account. He's taken off and take all of the money. He has a roof over his head now, and I still have to move. And I feel that it's only fair that since you've done this,
Mr. Landrum, you moved out of her mother's house?
I put her out. I put him out on September 27th.
No, it has nothing to do with a woman.
I don't need both of you talking at the same time.
It has nothing to do.
Have you moved?
I've been moved.
All right.
And it has
so you moved on to another relationship.
I've been gone for over a month.
Fine.
She just got that check.
That's all I want to know.
I can afford to keep a place on my own, but I can't afford to save the money to
If you keep talking, you're not going to get anything. You need to quit while you're ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
You're the one who's working. You're making the money, and so you claim by your own mouth. Your words. I've been supporting and taking care of this woman and buying for her and giving to her the last 10 years, quote, unquote.
Yeah.
That's what you said. So when you do that and you're married for 8 years, you don't just leave out of a marriage and leave her with nothing. She's asking for money in the form of what we call spousal support.
She just
got her
money.
I am finished.
Well, you got your mind made up.
My mind is made up because I understand the law very clearly. The legislature made my mind up a long time ago.
When divorce court continues, Judge Mableen and Joe discuss the case in the judge's private chambers. Divorce court continues in the case of Michelle versus Lonnie Landrum as Judge Mablean renders her verdict.
If you've been together for 10 years, married for 8 years, you're the one that's working, making all the money, solely supporting her. She's only on disability. She's not making money. She has a right to spousal support for a reasonable period of time to allow herself to remain in the same position she was in before and to get a place to live. That's the law. And I'm going to order you to pay her some money. And to tell me that you're supporting somebody else and taking care of another woman and her children, I'm just going to, you're just going to have less to give her. And you're going to give more to your wife for a while. Well, all you asked for was $2,500. I don't know why you only asked for that.
The reason I...
Well, don't even tell me now. That's all you asked for. Your problem. Should have asked for more. Should have asked for continuing spousal support. So $500 a month for the next 5 months. And there's your $2,500 that you requested.
Thank you.
That's the order of the court. Court's
Thank you
adjourned.
very much.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
Well, for once, we have somebody that says, why should I keep staying with somebody when they keep bringing home this disease?
At least
And she
somebody's
had enough
thinking about
sense
it.
to stop,
Yeah, that's right.
okay?
That was refreshing to hear,
Ooh,
actually.
that was a refreshing one to know that. To just hear those words mouth. Why should I continue to do that? But you know what? He hasn't learned.
Oh, no.
I think that people really feel that they're immune. That's not gonna
Can't
happen to me.
them. Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than that. I'm not gonna get anything. Boy, oh boy, how do they just run from person to person? How do we do that? Okay, Joe, we were talking about the young folks the last time around. These are old people as far as I'm concerned. They're 34 years old apiece. Now, what we do about them? But at least they don't have any children. Thank goodness.
She stopped and said, that's it.
In today's session of Divorce Court, when Milton Vincent suspected his wife Amy was seeing someone else, he started snooping in her drawers. That's when he found love letters from another man.
It says, I love you, I can't wait till next week when I get to see you. I miss you so much, I love you so much. You're the reason I breathe, and you make me whole, it said.
It was just letters. It was no love letters, it was a pen pal.
So if he went
A
through
pen
your...
pal doesn't say I love
Hold
you.
on a
He
second.
never said I love you.
Stop. Stop.
But Milton says he may not even be the father of Amy's child.
Uh-oh. Whose baby is this?
Now a paternity test will reveal whether or not Milton Vincent is the father of Amy's child in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Mablean Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
In the matter of Milton Vincent versus Amy Vincent. Mr. Vincent, I understand that you're the person who filed for divorce in these matters, and you're asking me to award you $600 for the cost of a paternity blood test?
Yes, Your Honor.
Aren't you married?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what do you mean a paternity blood test?
Well, it started one day. I was home by myself. I got a phone call. I answered the phone. It was a gentleman asking for her. I told him she wasn't there. I asked if I could have his name and take a message. And he asked me who I was. I told him I was her husband. He says, no, really, who are you? I says, really, I'm her husband. And he hung up on me. So I started thinking, I started snooping, and I found some love letters in her dresser drawer.
So he sounded surprised that you were her husband?
Yes, very much.
But you had no
He did
right
not
to
believe
snoop
me.
in my stuff. That
Yeah,
was
but I
my
did.
stuff.
May I finish
And you
talking?
have no right to interrupt him when he's talking.
So I find the love letters, and I confront her with her. One of them says, Amy, I love
Wait a
you, I
minute.
can't wait.
Found love letters. What do you mean
the love
found?
letters. I found them in her dresser drawer. I was snooping.
Yeah, you were snooping in my
Yes,
stuff.
Your Honor, I was. And
No
it said,
right to.
Invaded her privacy,
Yes.
went through her things?
Perhaps, yes. So it says, I love you. I can't wait till next week when I get to see you. I miss you so much. I love you so much. You're the reason I breathe, and you make me whole, it said. So when
Where was that? Where was I? I never saw him.
So when I confronted her about the love letters, she said they were just friends, and there's no law against her having male friends, which I don't have a problem with that. But
No
when it
law
says I
against her
love,
having male friends that she loves and can't wait to see. And
yeah, I have a
But
problem
I
with
never.
that, Your Honor.
But I never even saw the letters. I've never even met this guy.
So because you didn't see the letters and didn't meet the guy, who is it?
I have no idea who he's talking about. I've never ever seen the letter.
He never confronted you?
No, I
With
mean,
the issue, the
he
fact
had
that
said,
he went through
He said
your...
he went through my stuff. I knew he'd went through my stuff because it was just letters. It was no love letters. It was a pen pal.
So if he went
A
through
pen
your...
pal doesn't say I love
Hold
you.
on a
He
second.
never said I love you.
Stop. Who were the letters written
I have no
from?
Men
idea.
she's met on the internet, they were written by.
Wait a minute. You got letters in your drawer. They're in your drawer, addressed to you, and you have no idea who the letters were, they were written
They
by?
never said I love you.
What did
If
they
I
say?
They were just we wanted to meet each other someday.
You just stumbling and bumbling. What did the letters say?
I don't remember. It's been almost a year ago. But
So-
I tell you something right now. It never said I love you. I never even.
Well,
I've known
wait
this-
now.
I've known him for
Wait
like
now.
3
See,
months.
I have a problem, and this is the problem I have. And some people tell me that I really should. It's a real problem for me. But I kind of use logic. And in using logic, I mean, it's a real issue for me. I can't help it. That's just me.
But he had no right to
Hold
sleep
on a
with my
second.
stuff.
No, we're not talking about the right yet. We're talking about, I don't know what they said. It's been over a year, but I know they didn't say I love you. If you don't know what they said, how do you know it didn't say I love you?
Because I didn't know him for very long.
Excuse me?
But I didn't know him for very long. Why would I tell somebody that I didn't know that I love him?
She didn't tell
She
him,
didn't
he
say
told
you
her in the letter.
He did not.
He didn't say you told anyone that. He said someone told you.
No.
I love you. I miss you. Can't wait to see you again. Till next
I'd like
week
to know
see
who
you.
it was from.
And you never told her who this mysterious person was?
Yes, I confronted her about the letter.
And what was her response?
She said they're just her friends. She has a right to have male friends. She said there ain't no law against it.
Do you have male friends?
Yes, I do.
Do they write you letters?
Now they do.
Did they write you letters before?
No.
So your
lying,
husband
Your
didn't
Honor.
see
No,
any
I'm
letters in
not.
your drawer from male friends?
Not to say that
Yes, I
I love
do.
you. I mean, we had pen pals.
Oh, see, that logic is getting me again.
I had one that had wrote me, yes.
Okay, now we got down to one. All right, maybe it's just that one.
There was one.
There were
Maybe
3
that's
different
the one that
letters.
said,
One
"I
that said,
love
I
you."
love you. I can't wait to see you next week.
How many do we need? Maybe that's the one that said I love you.
I sure wish I'd know who the other ones were. Maybe you should have brought in the letters.
Maybe I would if I had them.
Why does he need to bring the letters? As a result of those letters, what'd you
As a
do?
result of them, I gave her an ultimatum. I said, it's the computer or me. I said, it's one or the
Wait a
other.
minute, so why do you want a paternity blood test? Because you saw some letters.
Because after I moved out, it was less than a week, and she moved another man into the house that she met off the internet.
Another one other
No,
than the
I
person that you
didn't.
I
read
don't
the
know if it's
letter
the same
from?
one or not. I don't know.
He
She
did
moved
not
a man
move
into
in.
the house.
You forgot that rule.
But he moved in the house. He was taking care of my children while she went to work, which I did not like.
Yeah,
I did not
because
know
you
the
didn't
man.
take care of them.
All right, let's start over again. Rules. Listen to me. One person talks at a time. Neither of you interrupts the other. I'm the only person who has that privilege. I interrupt whenever I get ready.
Okay, so I packed my clothes. I left the house, and she moved the other guy in. And then I decided to do the paternity test.
So once you found the letters, you moved
Yes.
out.
Yes. Once I gave her the ultimatum, I said, it's the computer or me. And while she was
Wait a
at
minute,
work,
how'd you get to the computer or me?
because that's where she was talking to these men, that's where she was dealing with the men, was over the internet.
So you're reading a letter on the computer?
No, ma'am, from her dresser drawer. The men had sent her the letter in the mail. But it
But
was
she
men
met
had
him on the computer?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
How do you know that?
Because she was talking on the computer 12 hours a day.
But how do you know that's where she met this
It said
particular
right in the
person?
letter she had.
Oh, it said it in the letter.
Yes.
You know anything about meeting men on the computer?
I have met a couple, yes, but it was after.
Couple.
Be quiet now. Your turn.
It was after Mr. Milton moved out.
So you didn't have any
I did not
communication
have. No, I didn't, ma'am. I did not.
with any men on the computer before your husband moved out.
No, I did not.
And the letters that he says that he found in your drawer coming from a man or off the that said he met you on the computer, just a fabrication. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Figment of his imagination.
Yep.
Never happened. All right.
So, anyhow, before the paternity test come back, she had moved downstate with
Paternity
another
test
man.
mean you have a child.
Yes, ma'am. We have 3 children.
So did you get a paternity test for all of them?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So at that point you're saying, hey, I don't know if any of these children are mine.
Yes, ma'am. I was starting to question it.
How old were they?
I have a boy that's 7, one that's 6, and a group my baby's 2.
3.
So now you're suspicious of all of your children and not certain whether they're yours.
Yes, I did test
Okay,
them
once
all.
he asked you about the paternity test, what'd you say?
When he asked to do the paternity test, I had no problem with it.
She told me right then she didn't think that
Were you
the
sure?
child was mine.
I knew that my 2 oldest were his. I wasn't sure about my daughter. I had a real,
Excuse me again? You ran past that so quick.
I had an iffy about my daughter.
Why did you have an iffy? Wait, iffy, the daughter's the last child?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you have an iffy about your daughter?
Because at the time, Junior and I...
Because there were no men. There were no love letters.
Right.
So, but there were men, but they weren't the ones that you was having an affair with, wasn't writing you a love letter. Is that what you're telling me? Well, you better hurry up and tell me. Let me let you tell me.
Okay. At the time, Junior and I thought we're not...
This is Junior?
Yes.
All right.
We're not intimate. No sex at all. He wouldn't listen. He was never home. So I decided that I was going to talk to my ex.
Your ex?
My ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, she cheated on him once before me, earlier in the relationship.
7 years ago. Well, it would have been
Throughout
longer.
my whole marriage, I believe.
No.
So
no.
you went backwards instead of forward?
I went back just to talk to him. He listened. And I did something that I shouldn't have, and I slept with him.
You know what? You can't keep a straight sentence. We never had sex. We weren't having sex. We had sex every now and then. There is a big difference.
When divorce court continues, results of the paternity test are in.
This is the most conclusive paternity report I've read.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Milton Vincent, who has taken a paternity test because he says he's not the father of Amy's child.
When did you discover that you were pregnant?
Gosh, I don't remember.
Within how much time after you had had sex with the ex?
Maybe 3 months.
And then, so in between the sex with the ex, you and Junior had some sex every now and then?
Right.
So
And
then, wait a minute, did you then go back to having sex with your husband?
Yes.
After
I only was with my ex once.
And you thought you were pregnant?
No, I didn't know I was. I mean, never thought about it till...
Oh, you didn't think you were pregnant? No. Until you found out for real you were pregnant. So then you weren't sure. Then it's like, uh-oh, whose baby is this?
It never crossed my mind to think that. I thought that she was Junior's. I mean, I never really...
Oh, you knew all along.
So you took the paternity
I did
test?
not.
You took the paternity test?
Yes, Your Honor, we did.
What happened?
I have the results here.
Whoa. You seen them?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see them.
It says I'm 100% excluded. Your Honor, I thought this child was mine for the first 3 years of her life.
How old is the child now?
She's 3 right now. The first 2 years of her life, I believe she was mine. And
The
it really hurt
alleged
me.
father cannot be the biological father.
I'm the only dad.
He cannot be the biological father. Since he and the child do not share the necessary paternal markers in the genetic system. And usually, I mean, this is the most conclusive paternity report I've read. Usually it says
100%
is not excluded. Right. This says cannot be.
Right.
Ooh, with more certainty than they're usually stated.
Yes.
So that means the genetic markers between your child and Mr. Vincent are nowhere near each other. Right. As a matter of fact, they absolutely don't exist.
That's right.
So you think he's wrong for going through your things? And if he hadn't gone through your things, he never would have found
She
out
told
you
me
were
I was
having an
wrong for
affair.
getting a paternity test. Right
No,
up to the time that I
wasn't
ordered
wrong.
them.
Is
she
that
told
the
me I was wrong
problem?
for doing it.
If he hadn't gone through your things, he never would have found out you were having the affair. And if had he not snooped
But
around,
I never
and he
would
never
have
would have
had
known.
the affair if he would have been there. He was never there.
Oh.
Your Honor, I got to put food on the table. I have to work.
So where were you?
I was working at home. I don't know why she says I wasn't there.
What do you mean he wasn't there?
He wasn't there emotionally, you know, for his kids. I mean, he was there,
always
but
been
he'd
there
be
for my kids, Your Honor, even
sleeping
since we were split up.
or, you know, other things like that.
And your ex was there for you, right? That's why
No,
you had an
not
affair
really.
with him, because he was there for you.
No.
He was feeding you. He was supplying you. He was taking care of you. He was there emotionally for you and your kids. And he was the greatest thing. Is that what you're telling me?
No.
So that's not why you had an affair, because he wasn't there. That's one of those cop-outs. And just like I jump on a man for telling me it's her fault, and that's why I went out and had sex with somebody else, it's coming back to you too, sweetheart. It's not his fault. It's yours.
You taking control of your body. That is an excuse and an attempt to justify your infidelity so you can live with it. That was your fault. If your husband wasn't there for you, if you weren't getting the emotional support you feel that you were entitled to, if you weren't getting the financial support, but he says he was working.
To me or recommended counseling, I would have been glad to go.
It didn't work.
But then you should have
been down talking. It didn't work.
And tell me having an affair and having a child and leading him to believe that it's his child for 3 years worked. Tell me that worked.
I didn't know that she didn't belong to him till we got the
day I ordered
paternity
the blood
test.
test, the day I signed the paper to order the blood test, she told me that day that she believed she was not mine. That she believed she was.
No, I did not.
Did you ever tell him that there was a possibility?
I did when we got the test done.
3 years later.
Yeah, but I didn't know. She doesn't look like.
Miss Vincent, it's not a question of she doesn't look like the other person and all of that. You knew that you had had an extramarital sexual relationship with your ex. And you knew shortly after that, now suddenly you and your husband are having sex again. I think it was a setup because you weren't sure, so you could say, maybe it'll come out and I'll be pregnant with my husband since I've already had this affair with somebody else. But that wasn't fair to him.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't fair to him, wasn't fair to your child, and it wasn't fair to the actual father of that child. Because now all of those persons have been deceived. Now you have to explain to, what's your 3-year-old's name?
Chelsea.
Now you got to explain to little Chelsea. You know what, Chelsea, that man that you really believed was your father, he's not your father.
She still thinks I'm her father. She doesn't know.
Yeah, but she can think it, but you have to explain. Yes. He's not your father. Now you have to go to this other man and say, you know what, Mr. X, whomever he is, you now have another child.
To go with another 7.
He doesn't have 7.
The point is, you made your husband spend $600.
Yes,
that the two of you did not tell me you could afford to just blow $600.
I didn't tell him to go, and I didn't tell him to go and get the paternity test done.
Well, no,
He's the one that wanted it. You're the one that paid it out of your pocket.
Excuse me, Miss Vincent. Yes, you did tell him to go and get the paternity test done. And you know when you told him that? When he found out that you were sleeping with somebody else. Yes, you did. Because he had the right to know at that point. Yes, you did tell him that. And that is no justification that you didn't tell him to get the test done.
I had to pay
He had a
for 3
right
tests.
to have, be quiet, Mr. Vincent. He had a right to get the test done. You're still trying to shift the blame over here. You started all of that.
I paid for 3 tests because of her infidelity. Maybe she should reimburse me for all 3 of them.
Yeah, you paid. He really paid for all 3 of them to make certain. But now that it's determined that the last child is not his child, I don't think it's right that he had to pay for the test.
Then he shouldn't have to take responsibility and take care of Chelsea.
I don't have to. I still take her because I can't go pick up my boys and not take her.
All right.
When divorce court continues.
For 10 minutes of pleasure, a lifetime of pain. That's what you have to think about.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues as Amy Vincent faces the consequences of learning for certain that Milton is not the father of her child.
Here's what's going on. People always try to justify infidelity in relationships on it's the other person's fault. He wasn't there for me. She didn't cook for me. She didn't clean. She wasn't there for me. She nagged me. He went around, he didn't treat me right. He wasn't at home. It's always justification other than the fact that I just didn't take control of my body and I went away from my marital vows and I was wrong. Because all I was thinking about was my personal, immediate gratification. I didn't think about consequences to nobody. I just satisfied my biological urge for sex. And it's just your fault, whomever does that. I don't care what the circumstances are. You took a vow. And if the relationship wasn't working, and if he wasn't there for you emotionally, if all those things were lacking, then you either talk about it and try to work it out, go to counseling and try to work it out, or if you're at the point where you know that it absolutely can't be worked out, then you get a divorce. Does not justify you going outside the marriage. And now you have created a more volatile situation because now this poor little child has to deal with this man is going to be out of her life, maybe, depending on whether you handle it as adults and how well you handle it. And you have to give the other father the opportunity to be in her life. You can't deceive him any longer.
He already knows.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
For 10 minutes of pleasure, a lifetime of pain. That's what you have to think about. Now, you have to reimburse him for the paternity test for the sake of, and the reason you do is because that, what you did not benefit this marriage at all. And it's an expense that the marriage should not have had to incur, but for the lies and the deceit. And you have to pay for it. Simple as that. With respect to child support for the other 2 children, seek a child support order. Go and file your request for child support. With respect to his visitation rights with Chelsea, really, he doesn't have any now, legally. But morally, since this is the father that that child knows, at least do her a favor of not cutting her off from him. Allow her to have a relationship, to continue a relationship with him so that she can be emotionally stable. Please, talk to the father. I hope the 3 of you can work that out. All right? That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
How do I feel about the judge's decision? I feel she was very honest, very upfront. I think she's honest. Wish more judges were honest as well.
He's sitting there and he was lying. It's unfair. I shouldn't have to pay it.
Oh, not really. I have more issues I need to work out still. There's other stuff that I think she owes me.
I want him to be a part of her life. That's what I want. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
In today's session of Divorce Court, Jaquisha Nash says her husband Cedric Williams ruined their wedding day.
He showed up an hour late to our reception.
And 3 months later, he destroyed their marriage.
Well, it was women's panties in the backseat of our car.
Unless he walked in and caught me nude with another woman, it just didn't happen.
I just have to say it. That statement right there made you just the idiot that you've been acting like.
Jaquisha says his infidelity forced her out of their home, but Cedric says she left him and he wants her to pay. Now it's up to the judge to decide who's at fault in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
This is the matter of Jaquisha Shaniva Nash versus James Cedric Williams. And Ms. Nash, I understand that you're bringing your husband to court today in these proceedings and you want me to reimburse you for costs for an eviction. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You want to tell me about it?
Yes, we had a lease that was broken. When I left, he didn't pay any of the bills, and I have been stuck with the documents from the broken lease.
Why did you leave?
Well, I left because an incident came up. It was a Saturday morning when I was leaving to go to work, and he had, well, it was women's panties in the backseat of our car.
That is total fabrication,
How long after your marriage did you find this? I understand that you haven't been married that long.
It was like 3 months after we were married.
Within 3 months, the flames had gone out?
Your Honor, what happened is he was out all Friday partying. He stayed out all night. He didn't come in until Saturday morning. He made me late for work.
That's not true, Yana.
I was late for work, so in a rush leaving out to go to the car, I lift up the back seat to set my bag in the back seat of the car, and I see women's panties in the back seat of the car. Okay?
That obviously weren't yours.
They weren't mine. So automatically I go back into the house. He's still hungover from the night before to confront him on the couch. I'm like, there's women's underwear in our car. And I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see any underwear. So I actually bring him to the car.
You picked him up?
No, I made him come out to the car. I couldn't pick him up, but I'm really persistent about it. And so he comes out to the car, and he sees.
So you dragged him out there while he's slumbering and trying to wake up and all of that?
Right. So he comes out to the car. He actually sees the underwear and the used condom, and he still denies it after seeing it.
I never saw the underwear.
A used condom too?
I never saw the
Your
used
Honor.
condom. I don't know what she's talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
She said you had a hangover. So maybe your eyes were still a little blurred, and when it was underwear, you thought perhaps it was a balloon.
That's not true. That's not true, Yana. That's not true. I drove myself home. I obviously wasn't too intoxicated.
He drove himself home and passed out on the couch.
Just let me deal with that. The fact that you were able to drive yourself home,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Williams, does not necessarily lead to the conclusion that you weren't drunk. A lot of drunk people drive home, and a lot of drunk people kill other folks on the way home, and a lot of drunk people kill themselves. But doesn't mean you weren't drunk, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Just means you didn't get caught, and by the grace of God, you made it home. That's all it means. Finish.
Okay, Your Honor. And in the back seat of the car, he's looking right at the stuff when I confront him about it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I never saw it, Yana.
All right, hold on. I'm going to give you a chance to give me your explanation because I figured that you would deny it and you never saw it. I'm not saying that you're right or she's wrong. Not yet. I'll say it in a minute. One of you telling me the truth. One of you isn't.
Yes, ma'am.
But there's always two sides to every story, so I'm certain you're not going to agree to that.
Your Honor, honestly, he looks right at the stuff in the back seat of the car, and he still denies it after seeing it.
What did he say it was?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see any underwear. I'm like, look right here. You see the underwear. He saw him.
Did you pick him up and put him in his face?
I didn't pick him up, but I tried to put his face in him.
You put his face in them?
I tried to.
Oh.
Okay, so that was the final straw. I went back in the house. I gave him back his ring, and that was it.
You gave him back the ring. Why would you do that?
Because, Your Honor, it was so many things that led up to this particular incident. That was just the final straw.
But I'm saying, why didn't you keep the ring at least? It was worth something, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't want any ties. I wanted to completely go. I didn't want him to, to say that I owed him something or had anything. I left him with everything that was there, and I went back to stay with my mother.
Your marriage, is this a first or second?
This is my first marriage.
In 3 months of marriage?
Your Honor, I can say I kind of saw it coming. I should have known beforehand the kind of man he was.
That's not true.
Why? What had you seen beforehand?
It was incidents where really a lot of the bad habits didn't pick up till after we were married. But I mean, even before he
No,
flirts.
I beg to differ with you, honey. Bad habits didn't pick up in 3 months. Not when you get to be that old.
Your Honor, that's just like that ain't even
Let
her
me hear about the incident, the first incident, before we go to others.
Yes, ma'am.
Where she should have seen this coming. She said she wasn't blindsided because she really should have seen it coming, and she saw it coming. Just closed her eyes, but this time she opened her eyes.
Your Honor,
there
were
was nothing to see
incidents
coming.
with
Hold on a
phone
second.
calls from other women.
That's
Within
not true,
3
Your Honor.
months?
That's not true, Your Honor.
At peculiar hours, like 2, 3 o'clock, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's not a time that anybody, just a friend, will use the name Nikki, will call a house.
Your Honor.
At strange hours, and I could tell. Not only that, but I could tell when he was getting phone calls from females. Period. Because when when you talk to your friends, a guy anyway, you're hey man, what's up? You can kind of tell when a guy is talking to a male, but you can kind of but when you talk, I could tell when he was talking to a female because it would be a hello, hi,
real soft, just talking in code.
And he would, and he would walk off. He would go off. And he
All
would
it
try
is
to wander off. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
right,
At 2 o'clock in the morning, that's the way you talk.
That's not the way you talk when it's a guy. And not just 2 o'clock, it was during the day sometimes too. In a particular incident with the girl, Nikki, she knew. She said
Nikki is not her real name, I hope.
No, we're just using the name Nikki. He knows exactly
I usually
who
say
I'm talking
Sally.
about.
Let's try Sally Sue.
Okay, Sally Sue. He knows exactly who I'm talking about because she called one time and she called our house phone. And I answered the phone, and he was in the other room sleeping. She said she didn't know he was married or in a relationship and that they were involved. And she mentioned times that he didn't come home, that he said, quote, unquote, I was out.
And she said he was out with her?
Right. Exactly.
Well, now, do you have any recollection of any of these things she's talking about?
No, ma'am. I don't.
She's just
I don't know this
He's a
female. I don't know
liar.
this female she's talking about.
All
Your
right,
Honor.
Ms. Nash, let me hear from him.
I mean, our marriage is basically doomed from day one. And the reason why I say it was doomed because of her family's involvement. They didn't want us to be together from the beginning.
Oh, so, but you were together and you were married.
Which is
and you
true.
were living together. So what happened? How did these underwear get in the car?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Having a clue?
Not a clue.
No, Ms. Nash, hold on.
I never even saw him.
You didn't see them?
No.
Did she take you out to the car?
Yes, she took me out to
Did
the
she
car.
show you an object?
My eyes were half closed, Your Honor. I ain't see nothing.
So you never opened your eyes?
I guess not, Your Honor. I never saw him physically.
You didn't open your eyes?
No, ma'am.
And did you see the condom?
No.
Didn't open your eyes?
No.
Or did you think you was looking at a balloon?
When I look, I ain't see nothing. I turned and walked back.
So you just did one of those like, oops, don't see.
And went back in the house.
Because you didn't want to see.
There was nothing there to see, Your Honor. This is complete fabrication.
So she's just standing up here telling me a bold-faced lie.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor. Not only
come
that.
on, Mr. Williams.
Every day, I get off work, not every day, because I wouldn't always go straight home. But when I did go straight home, you know, I get in there, she's on the phone with her relatives.
All right.
And, you know, I thought I married this woman here, not the whole family.
When divorce court continues, Jaquisha tells the judge how Cedric turned their wedding day into the worst day of her life.
I swear he called my mother a bitch.
Your
Because
Honor,
she was upset.
That's
She was
total
upset.
fabrication, Your Honor. Even though I don't like the woman, I would have never disrespected her like that.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Jaquisha Nash, who says she left Cedric Williams after finding another woman's underwear in their car.
But once you got married and you realized, according to you, that you were married to the whole family as opposed to her, you said, no, I don't want a marriage with the family. I just want one woman.
That's right.
So then did you go find you one woman?
No. I had one at home.
Then go find another one. So
No,
it could
ma'am.
just be one.
That's right.
So you didn't go out and seek security and love and comfort in somebody else's arms.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't getting it at home, no.
You did. Well, maybe you just went out and just went out and talked to somebody. You know the famous, you were just talking to her and having conversation. Did you do that?
No, ma'am.
You didn't do that either.
No, ma'am.
Your
And
Honor,
so
he denies
if
everything
panties
anyway.
were, since you didn't open your eyes and you didn't really take a good look and you didn't examine the car, let's assume, all right, just for the sake of discussion, if in fact panties were truly in the backseat of your car, and if in fact a used, did you say a used condom?
Yes.
I thought that's what you said. A used condom was in the backseat of your car. Could you give us a plausible explanation how it got there?
No. Not if it was, it wasn't mine, Your Honor.
Did you? I didn't say that. I said, let's assume it was. How would such objects get into the backseat of your car? Let's assume they were there.
I can't explain that. But I
Did
do
you leave
know
your
this.
windows down, perhaps?
No, ma'am.
Did you leave your car unlocked?
No.
Was it parked on the street?
No.
Did somebody else get in your car?
I don't know. Only
Did you
person
pick
to
up
have
a
access
passenger
is
on
she
the
and
way
I.
home?
No.
Give anybody a ride?
No.
No reasonable explanation. Can't explain it at all, other than the fact that she's lying.
That's right.
Your Honor. Now, the incident
You have to
with
do
my
better
family.
than that one.
Your Honor, the incident where he's saying that my family was involved, he was, okay, after we got, I can say that they weren't really fond of him after we were married. After we were married, he showed up an hour late to our reception. He showed
Wait a minute, how you show up an hour late to the reception? Don't the bride and groom leave together?
No, we didn't leave together because he claims he was waiting for friends to come from out of town who never actually showed up at the reception.
You were late to your own wedding reception?
And not only that, but he was
Yeah.
drunk. He comes totally drunk. He
I had-
comes in stumbling drunk. So, I mean, I really can't blame my family for feeling the way they felt. And not only that, but not was he just stumbling drunk, but he's standing in the corner and he gives all of us a dirty look. And I swear he called my mother a bitch. Because
Your Honor,
she was upset.
That's
She was
total
upset.
fabrication, Your Honor. Even though I don't like the woman, I would have never disrespected her like that. Your Honor, I was simply,
Your Honor, like I was saying,
Right, Miss
we
Nash,
cut-
let me
I
tell
was simply waiting on my friends to come in from out of town. They got
never
caught in
showed
traffic.
up. You will
and
never
and
showed
they
up.
missed the wedding.
Mrs.
And
Nash, let him talk.
That's
Waiting on your friends to come in from out of town.
That's correct.
To
And-
come to your reception.
Yes, they got caught in traffic, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
And you know, one time.
And what you get caught in? How'd you get drunk?
Well, on the way over there to the reception, You know, my nerves were a little jittery. And we were in a limo, and there was alcohol, so I had a drink or two.
Who was in the limo?
I was.
He was not in the limo. I don't know how he got there. See,
He said he got there in a limousine.
That's proof right there. You see?
So I had.
Wait a minute. You had a limousine to
Yes,
take
ma'am.
you to the reception,
What you call it, a supper one?
but your wife rode in the car with her mother and her sister? Did you ride in a limousine?
I don't know how he got there. We tried to wait for him, but we went on and left.
But in a limousine?
Yes.
Oh, so you had 2 limousines?
No.
I got
You
there in a
ordered the
limousine.
second one that she didn't know about.
Well, they had already left.
I got that part.
The limo, when he got back there, I was the only one there. That's my route.
When he got back to the reception?
Why would he
Or
go
to
back
the wedding
Yeah,
location?
when he got back to the wedding reception, to the wedding place, they were already gone to the reception.
What do you mean when he got back? This is a strange story.
The
limousine left before he took the bride to the reception?
That's right. He left and came right back. But when he got back, they had already left. So it was just me. And I was waiting on my friends anyway.
Oh, this is crazy.
So when I got there, when I get to the reception, I go in, I know I'm late.
With your friends or without your friends?
With my friends.
So they did show up?
Yes. And
Where were they at?
And Your
But
Honor,
tell me something. Where were your friends coming from?
upstate, New York.
Did they drive?
Yes.
So
They got
why
caught
could
in
they drive
traffic.
themselves to the reception? Why did you have to wait at the wedding for them?
They weren't familiar with the area.
Oh my goodness, they weren't familiar with
They
the
come
area.
a long way to see me, Your Honor.
And they don't know how to read maps and they don't know how to take directions and they couldn't drive directly to the reception. You got to come up with some better explanations than this because you sound like a little 2-year-old.
Well, when I got there to the actual reception, I go in, I realize that I'm a little late. I don't know about this hour stuff, Your
An
Honor.
hour, at least an hour.
I'm thinking
Well,
maybe
you know
10
what?
to 15 minutes.
You're late if you
At least
work.
an
You're
hour.
late because you didn't make it and go directly to the reception with your wife. You're late if it's 1 second. If you didn't walk in on her arms like every normal married couple does, you didn't even start the first day of your marriage off right. That is utterly ridiculous. How do you expect, this was a circus, not a wedding. This was a joke. Your friends, you're gonna wait for them and leave your bride hanging, and then you get to the wedding late, and then you to the reception, then you get there drunk, and you say, I didn't disrespect the family. You disrespected everybody, including yourself.
And I also acknowledge that. When I went in, I went immediately over to the immediate family, her family's table, kneeled down, and gave them all an apology. I got a bunch of dirty looks. The mother said, yeah, whatever, and walked away from me.
I don't blame her. She probably said, yeah, whatever, to keep from hitting you upside your head.
There was a cordless mic. I went over and got it from the DJ, and I apologized to everyone.
That doesn't make it right. An apology doesn't make something wrong right.
And that just made it all just okay.
And here it is, this one table, with just her people just looking at me, looking at their watches like, I can't believe he did this. But I apologize for that.
And they just so wrong, because
Yeah.
Mr. Williams is just a nice little man, and I don't understand why they were so upset with you.
But see, this is our day.
You was late to our day. How are you going to say something? You were not where you
Mr.
supposed to
Williams,
be.
you
You
understand.
chose friends.
Ms. Nash, be quiet for a moment, please. You understand exactly why they were so upset with you.
Yes, ma'am.
That was the most embarrassing situation. And it was terribly, it showed absolutely no regard for the vows of marriage, the sanctity of the situation, and the celebratory day it should have been. You made that the worst day of this child's life when it should have been the best day. Come on now. You know that wasn't good.
Well-
Don't even try to stand here and explain it. That's probably why she found the underwear, because you were all upset thinking this marriage is wrong from the beginning. Tell me something.
Well, at the
You
reception-
waited, I think, 3 months. I think you waited 2 months and 29 days too long. You probably
right,
should have
Your
walked out of there that day.
You're
On
right.
the wedding day.
The divorce court continues. Cedric blames Jaquisha for the end of their marriage.
She left me.
And for good cause, too.
She had no proof, She had no proof.
Oh, come on, Mr. Williams. Oh, you just too crazy for me.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Jaquisha Nash, who says she left Cedric Williams after 3 months of marriage because she found evidence of his affair.
Now, she left the house. You were
Yes.
leasing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
She left. What you do when she left? Did you pay the rent?
No.
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because she left me.
And for good cause, too.
It wasn't for good cause, Yana.
So it was her fault that she left you?
She had no proof, Yana. She had no proof. Unless she walked in and caught me nude with another woman,
Now,
it just didn't happen.
I just have to say it. That statement right there made you just the idiot that you've been acting like. And I know the phrase that says, you know, let people think that you are stupid. Don't open your mouth and prove it. You just proved it. Come on. No one, in terms of infidelity, rarely are you caught in the bed with the person. Come on now.
That's just like she said, and she make all these complaints.
No, it's
but
your...
there was no complaint in our wedding night.
Oh, come on, Mr. Williams. Oh, you just too crazy for me. Now it's her fault that she left you, and you didn't pay the rent. But who's behind slept there?
I did. But we got this place together, Yana.
But you slept there every night after she left, right?
Yeah.
You got married together too, but you didn't leave together, so you might as well continue not being together. It's just the pattern continued itself. You should have paid the rent. You slept there.
She was entitled. She left me with everything.
It's a good thing that she
And
left.
but Yana, you know the reason why she left? She didn't leave. She didn't leave me so she could, just to be leaving me. She left me to go be with her family. Because that's what they wanted from the beginning.
No, my family.
All right, no, Mr. Nash. It's all your family's fault. You can blame it on whomever you want as to why she left. You don't want to accept the responsibility for the fact that it was your conduct that caused her to leave. Perhaps with the marriage only being 3 months old, perhaps she should have stayed and tried to work it out. Perhaps counseling would have helped you people, but the way you presented yourself here to me today and your nonchalant attitude about the whole situation and the way you can just point the finger over there and not accept the blame, responsibility for your conduct, for the fact that you embarrassed her and disrespected the wedding and all of that from the beginning and her family and yourself, it tells me that she didn't need to prolong the agony.
But that was
she
one
did
day.
the right thing.
That was one day, Yana.
No.
It wasn't just one day, Your
This is
Honor.
all right,
There's
Ms.
so
Nash.
many
She
other
didn't need
incidents.
to prolong the agony. Fortunately, she quit while she was ahead. You stayed at the house.
Yeah.
You slept there.
Yes.
And I venture to say you didn't sleep alone.
Yes, I did, Yana. I stayed alone.
I didn't come to
So
say it all.
I suggest and I order that it was your responsibility for the first time, maybe in your life. You're going to accept. I don't know if you accept it or not. Could care less. But the court's order is you pay the $1,892.50 for the house that you slept in after she left. Court's adjourned.
Thank
All
you.
rise.
Again was like pouring salt over an old wound.
We both lived in the house together, and even though she left me. I didn't leave her, and I feel as though it's just not right for me to have to pay all that money.
He was no good from the beginning, and I should have saw it coming. And I'm glad she awarded him my favor.
And the stuff about the underwear, that's all garbage. You know, like I said, I never seen any underwear. I wasn't caught nude with some woman.
Hopefully he'll get what he has coming, but it won't be from me. Somebody else should give it to him.